Hey everyone, the name is Erik, and yeah, it's time. It's time for a live stream. I know it's been a while. It's been quite a while actually. Nowadays, I've been doing a lot of premiere live streams where I release videos at a specific time and everyone can join up. But it's rare that I can actually sit down and take. Let's keep it there. This is a memento from Disneyland. So I believe intuition comes with a set of issues and problems. I believe intuition is not the perfect process. I believe it has its blind spots. I believe it has its flaws. I believe that intuition is partially problematic. It's not always going to land in the correct assumption, and it's not always going to get the right result. Intuition risks going down a bad path, and it risks and it is particularly prone to issues because it's partially unconscious. Parts of intuition rests in the unconscious, so it rests in things we are not aware of, things we don't know of, things we have no idea of. A common example of intuition is when you feel you have the answer right at the tip of your tongue. You don't know what the answer is, but you feel that you have the answer right at the tip of your tongue. You feel that you are on the way to something, but you don't know what yet. And you feel like you're headed somewhere, or you feel that you are getting the right answer and that you got an insight, or that you come to understand something, but you don't know what it is yet. So that's the problem with intuition. We don't understand it. We have no idea how it works. And we are constantly at risk of falling in the grip of its whims and its craziness or its crazy aspects. We risk becoming obsessive. We risk becoming manic. We risk becoming idiotic in a sense of where we rush down or we pursue or explore a new idea and we end up opening up Pandora's box. At times, extroverted intuition is the culprit of releasing great evil. A classic trope in fantasy is when extroverted intuitives go searching for answers or stumble down into a cave and find an urn, and then they lift up the lid of the urn thinking it's going to be treasure. And bam, all the darkness of the world is released. Evil spirits come out, and the world risks destruction simply because we could not hold our curiosity back. We just had to open it. We just had to see what was inside of that urn, what was resting in there, what was really waiting to be released all this time. So what is intuition? Intuition is a partially unconscious process that helps us deal with uncertainty and speculation. Intuition is focused on what things could be or what they could become. It's a transformative process. It's focused on change, options, alternatives, and ideas. It deals with concepts and theories, and it deals with guesswork. So intuition and sensing, they're key mechanisms to which we navigate the world and experiences around us. It's how we understand and explain what is happening to us. It is how we define the events that are going on around us. It's how we take action when we take action on pure instinct. It's when we have a whim or an idea and we start exploring it or moving towards it. So the intuitive type is independent, it's free-spirited, it's wise, and it's often rebellious. The intuitive type will go against the norms and practice alternative lifestyles. They're novelty-seeking types that enjoy new things. They're less interested in traditions and in community life. They're more mentally inclined and tend to daydream and live much of their life inside their own heads. Physically, they often report being highly sensitive to sensory stimulation. They react more strongly to physical sensations and feel more overwhelmed in busy and active environments. So what are some of the key struggles intuitives might have? One example is intuitives struggle to deal with and accept the real world. There's a reaction towards what is. It's a refusal to deal with important truths that you know are real and that you know have happened. There is a tendency to deny outright that things are happening and to avoid or to pursue a dream version of life and how things are. That's one part of intuition. It's also being impractical and struggling to solve day-to-day problems. It's when problems come up in the physical environment and you have no desire to take care of them, like paying bills, like fixing a broken door, or dealing with when the tap starts to leak. It's a refusal to deal with, all those annoyances, all those disturbances that can come up in the world around you. So those are two parts of it. I don't know if any of you relate to this. I'm going to open up chat right now and I'm going to check what you guys are saying. How are you guys doing, by the way? Are you having good Thursdays? Are you ready for Friday? Are you ready for the weekend? I sure am. So I'll say hi, Murali, hi to Yanikas, hi, Kiapo, hi, Ruben, and yeah, thanks for your question. Ruben asks, do you think intuitives are more prone to delusions, or are they more insightful into the true nature of reality? I think intuitives are more prone to delusions than sensors are. I think intuitives sometimes make up a version of things inside their own heads that's far from the truth. And I think this is actually something I've been dealing with a long time. I don't know if you guys have that, but I have that deep awareness of my unconscious. I'm deeply aware of the fact that I have a shadow that I cast, my own behavior, parts of my own behavior, parts of my own thoughts, parts of my own ideas are unknown even to me. I have no idea what I'm saying and exactly where I'm coming from. So I think I get caught in the idea of assumptions and wild assumptions and speculation. I say I do something for one reason, and then afterwards I realize, no, that was not exactly it. There was something deeper. At the same time, I believe, that interest in the unconscious is also what can free the intuitive of delusions. That interest in studying intuition and really going inside and digging down deeper and thinking about it, it's what can free you from the darker aspects of your own thought processes. You can reach a deeper awareness as an intuitive of yourself and of the world. And you can reach a deeper wisdom, which is you don't just see the shallow aspect of something or why something happens or why something is a certain way, but you know why it's going on and you know where it comes from. You know where it comes from. Murali asks, how do you use introverted intuition? And I'm going to take you through that process right now. I'm going to tell you how to use introverted intuition. And now any type can do this. First thing is pursue a room that is quiet, where you can be alone, where you can be by yourself. Pursue a place where you can be at peace, where you can be just by yourself, where there is no interruptions, nothing that's going to come out of nowhere, where you can just sit down and think. Then start asking yourself questions, like, who am I? What am I thinking right now? Why am I thinking like this? Why am I this way? What has happened to me? Why have I done this or that? Start asking yourself questions and start asking yourself follow-up questions. So I am currently sitting here in my room all by myself, or okay with you guys, and I'm practicing just letting go and just letting my mind go freely. There's a tendency to make your thought processes too conscious, and that becomes sensing when you start truly defining every single thought. And it's I'm thinking exactly this, I'm experiencing exactly this, I'm wondering about exactly that, and that's when you lose the intuitive potential. What you really have to do is you have to let your thoughts go, and that means also just letting yourself wander freely, and slowing down and not rushing your thoughts or not rushing an answer. Ask yourself a question and then blank out and then go quiet and then sit down for a bit and just think, just stare up at the ceiling or just fade out for a bit. And find that insight is starting to come to you. You're starting to get perspective. Introverted intuitives take time to formulate answers, and the longer time they take, the bigger the answer, the deeper the insight. It's diving somewhere. It's being a deep sea diver. It's truly pouring yourself into something, and then it's getting some kind of insight from it. And I talked about privacy, and privacy is really important for this. You cannot let other people's thoughts bother you or get in the way. You can't get too caught up with what other people think or what everybody has told you in the past, or what you have learned from the medias, or what you read in the newspapers. You have to let yourself truly be yourself and truly have that space intellectually. Chris Parrott, not Chris Pratt, says, when I was younger, I didn't know what introverted intuition was. I thought it was a God complex. I got it right in the head with slowing down. Life experiences helped. Never stop learning. No, never stop learning. I think novelty seeking and openness is a crucial aspect of intuition. The more open your mind can be, and the more wide you can think, and the bigger the perspectives you can form, the more intuitive it's going to be. So I said there were a few struggles for intuitives, and I'm going to keep talking about these. One of them is a struggle with following the rules. A lot of intuitives are directly disobedient and struggle to follow rules and instructions. When a teacher explains a process to them, they may struggle to follow it in order. They might skip a step, or they might do something the opposite way around. They might intentionally go directly against what is said and come up with their own solution or do something completely different. So that's an aspect that intuitives tend to struggle with. When they go against the rules, they are also graded accordingly. They are graded as failures or as mess-ups, or they are graded by the consequences of their actions. When something does go right, it's a lucky guess. And when something goes wrong, they should have followed the rules. That's a problem intuitives follow. If you follow the rules, you can never go wrong. If you follow the rules, it's not your fault, then it's somebody else's fault for writing the rules. If you do something right by going against the rules, you should still have followed the rules. And that's the problem in a lot of organizations and societies, this blind obedience. But there is a genuine issue with following or refusing to follow important and positive rules, ignoring a process or pretending rules don't matter or that you don't need it, when it can be necessary as a starting point or as a starting process. You might need to learn the rules before you can break them. Another issue is lacking organization. There is a genuine value to having organization and discipline, setting time for yourself to do something, actually going up earlier to write that book you've been always dreaming about, actually gathering up your notes together and putting it all together rather than just keeping it all in your head and never putting it out there, just setting up a process to succeed with an idea or to make an idea come true rather than just hoping it will come true on its own. Lack of organization can be something that kills a lot of intuitives' ideas. Another part is thinking too long before they take action. I think a genuine issue is a lot of people hate taking action, hate actually having to do something. I love to daydream and to formulate an idea about something, but I do struggle with actually following through and doing something, getting an idea and then booking the tickets and then buying it and going there and being there. Often I fall short somewhere along the way. I forget to buy the tickets. I um, don't get on the train in time. Um, I decide not to show up, and I'll go another time, or it doesn't matter. You know, lacking in action. Booking a meeting but not showing up. Thinking about booking a meeting but never booking a meeting. Uh, making decisions or thinking of making decisions but never actually making or following through on the decision you made. So another point is being inconsistent and forgetting to follow through. Forgetting about something. Oh yeah, I should have done that, or I should have been there, or I should have gone and done this. I should have gotten this license. I should have registered this. I should have put this through on time, but I forgot to. That can be something very, very unnerving about intuitives, that they seem to talk and be excited and enthusiastic about something, but then they never follow through on it. They never do anything. They just talk, and it's just idea, but it's never action, never action. And action is found in sensing and perceiving. Action is an ESFP or ESTP's strong suit. So another part is being stuck chasing a new idea, and then another new idea, and then another new idea. You have one idea and then you start pouring yourself into that and researching it, but then along the way you find a better idea, and then you start going down that hole, and then suddenly there's another idea there. And then you keep on going around this path, and you keep on pursuing half-hearted projects, half-hearted ideas. As an intuitive, I think you can get stuck focused on the low-hanging fruits, every low-hanging idea, every idea that's easy within your reach, and ignoring the more important ideas that might be hanging higher up in this said tree. There is a part that is important, and that is you just being really able to dig into something and take your time with something. You might need to research something for a long time before you realize that it's interesting. A lot of intuitives, they go, what should I study, or what should I do, or what work should I do, or where should I go? And the problem is the lack of commitment. Often something can appear boring at the first glance, but when you get into it and you start digging into it really, and you start realizing the depth and the complexity behind it, it can actually become quite interesting. And that's something a lot of intuitives miss. They miss that there are a lot of interesting, deep, complex, fascinating ideas hidden behind that surface view that you had of something. And I think surface views always cloud us. Surface stereotypes about a person, surface stereotypes about a job or a position or a workplace or about a field of study. You've been told things and you heard things, and you heard somebody say a word about it or a thought about it. You've heard somebody question something, and then you turned yourself off it. But I believe there is an importance to practice openness and non-judgmentalism. Basically, don't judge something until you've tried it yourself, or test it out and take your time before you give up on it. Test it out for a little bit. Don't give up too early. Actually sit down and actually start reading about it a little more before you form an opinion about it. Yeah, the first teacher's explanation may have been boring, but the second one might actually have something good to tell. The first seminar you went to might have been kind of meh, but the second one might actually hold some truth and some fascination. So I'm going to look at the comments again. I'm an INFJ, says Murali. How to make myself more action-oriented? I'm either indecisive or delay in action most of the time. So what I would say is formulate a strong vision, a vision that is important and has urgency. Formulate a vision that requires you to act right now or to do something tomorrow. formulate a vision or an idea that puts you in the driver's seat. It's not just about what the world is headed towards. Don't you speculate about governments, conspiracies. Don't you speculate about, the big powers of the corporations, but speculate about your own day-to-day life, who you are, where you're headed, what you can do. And take your time to put yourself in the driver's seat, because your ideas can only be executed by yourself. And the ideas you have, and here's a problem I've seen with intuitives many times. We formulate ideas that don't concern us. We formulate theories about things that have nothing to do with us. We formulate insights about things that are not related to us. We might have a lot of theories about another person's life. We might have a lot of opinions about a company or a workplace or about a society or a country. But the most important thing to think about is yourself. What am I? Who am I? What can I do? And that's really putting yourself in the driver's seat, making yourself the agent of your own vision, making yourself the person that execute your own plans, making yourself the person that has to do something. Build up an idea in your head of yourself and your future and where you're going, and make yourself an important part in your own destiny. Basically, what is it important that I will do? What is the important thing I need to see through? And here's where you realize there's impossible things, things you can never do, can never achieve. And there is possible things. There are possible steps you could take, possible visions you could execute, possible ideas you could seek out or explore. And then there's ones that don't concern you. And that's others' visions, other people's plans, other people's thoughts, other people's possibilities. So another part is being too independent to fit in anywhere. No group fits me. No community is for me. No society is for me. I don't fit in anywhere. I'm an alien. Have you ever got caught thinking like that? Oh, no, I can't join that organization because I don't agree with everything they do. No, I could never work there because I don't stand by all their principles. No, I could never study that because I don't agree with everything every doctorate person in that field says. No, I could never move to that country because I don't like those people, or that part of that culture, or this does not fit me. I don't belong in my family because my family is like this and I'm like that. Building up an independent idea of yourself can be healthy because it can be truly getting an idea of who you are and getting to know yourself. But it can also be deeply alienating when you do it wrong. It can be deeply alienating when it becomes that your ideas and your possibilities become impossible to combine with the ideas and possibilities of others. Go into organizations because there is diversity, because there is variation, because there are different thoughts and ideas there. Go into an organization because your visions and your ideas can become important to this organization. Go into a field of study because your theories might break grounds that past thinkers might have been sketching at or hinting at or possibly reaching for, but have yet to conceptualize. So I have a question here I have a statement from Chris Parrott. Chris is an INTJ, and he found that the secret to action is knowing what you want from the top down and what the most basic next step is from the bottom up. Yeah, that's absolutely right. That's absolutely on point. Know from the top down who you are and where you're going. Have a bigger idea, have a bigger ideology, have a bigger vision. What do you want society to be? See for yourself, a society where people drive electric cars and where everything is going sharp and straight, and then see yourself in this vision and think, who am I to execute this? Who am I to put this in place? Who am I to make this happen? I think that's a good start to intuition. Chris says, I live with an INFJ. She's scatty, but she's also an artist, so it's in her nature. Morales says, I felt like this many times, like an alien. Being like that, however, hurts me a lot. Sarah says, I'm so not a rule follower. Kiapoi says, I struggle matching my own time to the real time. And I think that's also an important part of intuition, or a problem inside intuition, time frames. I have this idea that I'm going to live till forever. I've thought for a long time that I'm going to live until forever. I have until forever to execute my ideas, to make my own plans come true. And there is real time, which is right now. And there's me time. And me time is quite much more complex. It's like I live outside of time. It feels that way many times, that I live outside of time. I don't know everything that's happening around me. I don't know the clock. I don't know my appointments next coming up. I don't know, where I'm going to be or what's going to happen next or all those things. All those things are missing, from the equation. I don't see it. So I struggle with real time, I'm always on time to work, actually. I'm never late, I always manage to deal with it. But I also feel like it's a distraction because I want to live in a world where time does not push me or bother me, or when I can actually take my time and actually let things happen my way. But I have to accept that there are things happening right now that are important and require my immediate attention. And that's something I had to realize when I grew up. I have to recognize what is important to do right now. I'm going to talk about another point, another issue of intuition, and that is never being content with what you have. And I think this goes especially for extroverted intuition, but it goes for me too, and it goes for a lot of intuitives. I feel with extroverted intuitives, it's always what's next. It's what's right around the corner. It's like never being able to enjoy anything you're doing because every time it happens, you're stuck thinking about the future. It's always, now I'm here, sure, but where am I going to go next? Yeah, now I'm at this great party, but what is the after party going to be? Now I'm doing this. Now I'm starting this job, but what job am I going to do after this? It's never being able to enjoy something because you constantly have to look forward to something. So there's a never content with what you have. It's denying the value of what you have. You might have great things in your life, family members, friends, a partner, or anybody that is truly important to you, but you might not understand how important they are because it's always, but what's next? And I think that can sometimes lead into diminishing the value of what you have. I don't know if any of you relate to that. The final aspect, and I'm going to actually go back for a second, and I'm going to finish what I said about myself. And I felt it's never enough. That's something I felt that I think is very intuitive. It's never enough. It always has to be more, I always have to create more. I always have to formulate more ideas. I always have to broaden the view. I always have to go deeper. I always have to see things more complex, and everything I end up saying feels shallow. My worst fear, my biggest frustration is that what I do or say is shallow. And, making a video and feeling like, oh, I could have gone deeper. I missed something, or I forgot about something, or I didn't realize something. And then getting that afterwards, and that's feeling that, no, it's never deep enough. It's never big enough. It's never broad enough. That really diminishes from the ideas that I do have. The ideas I have may not be the deepest. They might not be groundbreaking. They might not go down to the core yet. But they're going down, and they're getting other people thinking about going down. And it gets other people worried or concerned with what's underneath. So we're engaged all in a massive dialogue, of ideas. We're all throwing out ideas and theories out there. And all those ideas are coming together, and they're pushing us further and further down beneath the rabbit hole. And they're teaching us more and more truths. So it's also recognizing your own place in that dialogue. I think there is a fascination with the idea of a finish line, but a lot of the time there is no finish line. There is only more and more and more. So you have to recognize where you are in the timeline and where you are in everything. No utopia is built in one day. I think a utopia is going to take millions of years to build. But you're part of building it, and you're part of one of the ages in humanity's existence that is building and working towards this utopia. And you're one of the visionaries, one of the thinkers, one of the sages, one of the philosophers that is here trying to conceptualize and answer the questions that will get us there. Recognizing where you are right now, that's grounding yourself. So Nedum says, the power of now. Victorious Joy says, I'm learning to take deep breaths and to get into my body and to feel what I feel and to be thankful. Needham says, meditation helps me feel present and grateful. Murali says, I struggle connecting in social circles. And I think that's connected to what I said. Realize you're part of an international dialogue. We're all here now on YouTube, chatting together, throwing things out. And recognizing the value of other people, I think is very important. I feel we are way too self-absorbed in today's society. We're so focused on what everyone else is thinking. And we're not near enough focused on what other people are thinking. That's the paradox. We're too focused on what other people are thinking, and we're not focused enough on what other people are thinking. What I mean with this is we're focused on what other people are thinking about us, but we're not focused on what they are thinking about the world. And we're not realizing that other people are fascinating people. We make other people agents in our personal life script. We give them a voice or an opinion that they do not have. We assume that they are judging us. We assume that they think this and that. We assume that they are this or that kind of person. But we never ask them what kind of a person they are. We never ask them what kind of ideas they have. We never wonder what it is they're really thinking. And here's the thing: intimacy matters. Intimacy and connection matters. Actually being able to build a relationship with somebody, actually being able to tell them, to show them that their ideas are important and that they matter. I feel like we're all missing out on that. We're constantly worried about what they're thinking about us. We're constantly building up ideas about them, and we're not actually talking to them. So how do you connect with other people? You actually show them that they are interesting and that they are valuable. You actually ask them about what's going on. You actually talk to them about who they are. You actually listen to them when they share of themselves. And you actually nod and appreciate them and show them that you're listening attentively. And that's building also intuitive friendship. The concept of intuitive friendship, I think, is very important. An intuitive friend is a person you can share ideas with. It's a person you can brainstorm with. It's a person you can build up visions with. It's a person you can sketch out and speculate with. It's a person you can, go through what ifs with. It's a person you can transform the world together with. There's a person that can help you rebel and go against the flow. It's a person that can show you new paths and new opportunities and new ways forward. And I think we need more intuitive friends. Most people say they don't have any friends. When you ask people, poll people about their personal life, most people say, I don't have anyone I can talk to. I don't have anybody important in my life right now. Most people don't get me. Most people don't understand me. That's what most people are saying right now. Most people don't have intuitive friendship. Most intuitives don't have intuitive friendship. And that's a problem. So the question that we have to come back to is, what is the dark side of intuition? I think the dark side of intuition is every unconscious thought or idea that you are unaware of, every thought that you have that you fail to realize that you are having. It's every idea that you reject in yourself. It's everything you tell yourself is stupid. It's everything you tell yourself not to say or do or share. It's every thing you've been thinking of exploring or pursuing that you left behind. It's every time you repressed your need for change. and force yourself to conform. And I'm going to tell you where I'm going with this, and I'm going to tell you why this is such a problem. It's such a problem because every time you do, your perspective becomes distorted. You start to become resentful of everything that is static or stagnant in your life. The more you repress your need for change, the more frustrated you become with the things you have in your own life. The more you hold yourself back from truly exploring new ideas, the more resentful and upset or frustrated you get with everything that repeats itself, everything that remains the same in your life, every structure, every plan, every organization that you have around you, every tool that's around there to help you. Every time you hide yourself for who you are and feel afraid to be weird, you become increasingly resentful towards the normies of society, that everybody's the people who are just like anyone. I think in the process of rejecting yourself, you also become increasingly resentful of other healthy and different aspects of being, you know. I think the anger and frustration that comes towards um, different traditions and structures in society that are healthy and important come from the reaction that we put towards ourselves and the reaction we have felt as intuitives. I believe there is a conflict in which we reinforce the issues of other personality types and other values, while we simultaneously reject the ideas and thoughts of our own. Amir says, "What's up?" And I'm gonna tell you that I just got back from work. Just had dinner, and I just sat down, and currently I'm writing a book. I have a new idea for a book, and I'm really into that. So I'm really digging into that whenever I'm not making videos. This weekend I'm going out to Robinhood. What's up for you? Falls to Shine says, I have an intuitive trickster, it seems. And that's interesting. I want to hear more about that. What's the intuitive trickster to you? Is it, being a devil's advocate? Is it just like, throwing jokes or refusing to be serious? Because I think that's another blind spot of intuition, going down an argument that you know is invalid, building up a straw man, building up an idea of something that you know is false if you think about it, building up a conspiracy theory, I think that's intuitive trickstership right there. Kiapoy says, curiously, I'm in a relationship where there are two intuitive people talking. It's great, but intimacy isn't always easy. Instead, often it requires an effort. No, intimacy is not always easy because there is so much reaction and fear of reaction keeping us from intimacy. Ruben says, do you think an ESFJ and an ENTP can have a long-term relationship? I don't think it's common, but I don't think it's uncommon either. I think there's a good chance there. Nade says, yes, we should get to know others and don't make assumptions. Yeah, I hear the same. Chris says, you just explained why I left my fiance and moved 150 miles to start life again. I got so bored with my environment and the people around me. And I think we should really avoid that happening. There's nothing wrong with travel, and if you want to travel, you should travel. But I don't think it needs to be as drastic as it sometimes can be, ghosting all your friends, going black, just going away all of a sudden, just running away or just breaking off everything that's going on. I think there can be a more healthy way, which is traveling, but keeping in touch with the people you left behind, and sending them a message once in a while and asking them how they're doing, and letting them know you're going and inviting them to come with you or to share their ideas and encouraging them to move as well. Ruben asks, can a strong sensor and a strong intuitive work well together? For sure they can. There's many awesome pairings. One common one is ISTJ and ENFP. That's a great one. Murali asks, which personalities are compatible for INFJs? I think that depends on INFJ. So these are my thoughts on intuition's dark side and the psychology of intuition. A lot of them suggest that what we need to work towards is a broader intuition that goes beyond our own introversion or attitude. If we're introverted intuitives, I think a lot of it has to do with venturing out into the realm that is more extroverted. And I think if you're an extroverted intuitive, I think a lot of it is venturing into and digging deeper into the patterns that you've seen in your life and truly gaining insight into them. I think what we're striving towards is reaching our values that are most important to us and digging deeper into our interests, but in part giving up on our attitudes, moving beyond that and finding a way to be extroverted or to manage to be introverted. Because I think that can build a bigger, broader view of intuition, and it can help also eliminate blind spots and issues. Do you guys have any ending words or ending thoughts? Falls to shine. Sorry. I have times where I make jokes that are about the truth behind another person's persona, but only after I've blurted it out do I realize how deep my comment goes. Yeah, that's true. It's only after you say something you realize, wait a second, that's actually true. What can you do if you're very low on conscientiousness on the Big Five personality test, but high in openness? Find something you care about, truly care about, something that's truly important to you, and portion your conscientiousness. If you recognize I have 10% conscientiousness, 10 great percent, put those 10% to practice where they matter, where it's really important to you. If you're a crazy, scatterbrained, idea junkie that's jumping through hoops, all the time, something new, put those 10% of your brain power that is conscience into something, an idea that is really, truly important. And then watch it build from there. Yeah, travel, take people with you, keep contact, don't go ghost. People are important and will always be important. Relationships are important. Family is important. History is important. We all have baggage. We all come from somewhere. And I think advantage to diversity is easier, change is easier when we can accept what has been and where we come from and move forward despite it. So those are my ending words to developing your intuition and dealing with the darkness of your own intuition. Truly sit down with yourself, take the time for privacy, go exploring, go chasing down dark alleys, go looking through locked doors, open the boxes, the Pandora's boxes, go releasing the things that are hidden and then confront them and understand them and make peace with them and see beyond them. That's the answer. That's the solution. Thanks everyone for joining in, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.